Well, hello, my honor students. We'll be able to start solving real soon. Holy cheese. So, there's some facts you need to know. The first one we've already talked about. The highest power is the number of answers. So that's the first thing you want to do when you start solving is how many answers are there? And they go from there. So if I have x to the 9th plus x to the 7th plus x to the 5th plus x cubed minus x squared plus 1 equals 0, you'd say, hey, there's 9 answers. Highest power. So if the problem was x plus 5, x minus 6, x to the 4th plus x cubed minus x squared minus 1. Excuse me. So how many answers are there? Well, it's the highest power when it's written polynomial longest, highest power to lowest in polynomial form. So every time you multiply another x, the highest power gets up bigger by 1. So there'd be 6 answers. Okay, rule number 2, we've actually already talked about 2, and that is that imaginary answers come in conjugate pairs. So, this is because, well, let's look at this problem. X squared plus 2x plus 7 equals 0. So if I go to solve it, you would say, okay, negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 4ac, so that would be 28 all over 2a. 4 minus 20 is negative 24. So it would be a 2i square root of 6, which is negative 2 plus or minus, negative 1, I boo-booed, plus or minus I square root of 6. Because of this plus or minus, the answers have to be conjugate, meaning one positive, one negative, but the terms are the same. So if I said, hey, I know 7 plus 5i is an answer, you'd say, hey, I already magically know 7 minus 5i is an answer. If I tell you I is an answer, then minus I is an answer, because they have to come in conjugate pairs. Also, it tells you you have to have an even number of answers. So, for this problem up here, if I said, could all the answers to this problem be imaginary, you'd have to say no. The most it could be is 8, because it has to be even. They have to match in pairs. So, given one, you should be able to find the other, and it has to be even number. Okay, the third rule. If R is an answer or is a root, then x minus r is a factor. Or vice versa. If x minus r is a factor, then r is an answer. So if I solve, let's say x squared minus 1 equals 0, so you'd say x plus 1 times x minus 1 is 0. So x plus 1 is a factor. You solve it by subtracting 1. Negative 1 would be a root, an answer. X minus 1 is an answer, so x equals 1. So if I tell you 7 is an answer, then x minus 7 has to be a factor. Has to be. Okay, And the last thing we're going to do during this video is when you're solving and all the signs are positive, if all the signs are positive, that means no positive numbers could be answers. No positive numbers could be answered, because if I put a positive number in, there's no way to get it back to 0. It just makes it bigger and bigger. You got to have a minus in there somewhere. So if all the signs are positive, addition, then you cannot have positive answer. So if I use possible rational roots, whatever those are, and my possible choices are 4, 3, and 1, and all of them are adding, I can get rid of that one, and that one. Also, try plus or minus 1 when you start solving, and we'll start solving in a little while. So that's not really a rule, it's just sort of a tip. Although I guess 4 is not really a rule either. But anyways, have a good idea. I don't know what I just said. But highest power is the number of answers. Imaginary roots come in pairs, ants. That means there's an even number of them. If a number is a root, an answer, then x minus that number is a factor. If all the signs are addition, then you can have no positive answers. And try 1 or negative 1, and I'll talk to you more about that when we get to adding. So hey, have a good day.